Hi, it's Jez here from Nigezza.co.uk. Thank you for joining me today. So it's the Pootler mini catalogue video hop. So I'll link down below to everybody else that's taken part in the video hop. And so the Pootlers are all Stampin' Up demonstrators, and they're all the team of Sam Hammond Donald Pootlers herself. And so we're all making stuff using this new mini catalogue. I have only bought Christmas things from this catalogue, so I'm going to do a Christmas project. I know it's only August and some people can't think of Christmas right now, but I like to get ahead. So I am going to use the lovely Lights Aglow DSP, and I've already used one square from this sheet, and we're going to be using another square from it. So you've got these beautiful, you get 4 of each design. I just share mine with Jill from Paper Daisy Crafting, who I imagine is in this video hop. So you get 4 of each pattern. So we've got very vanilla and gold. So one side's beautifully foiled and then the other side isn't. So we've got these two here, like on sort of very vanilla sort of background there, and then we have some on cherry cobbler, so nice little sort of dotty snowflakes, and they're not necessarily Christmas. This paper doesn't have to be Christmas. I love this sheet. It's a beautiful pattern. And then just some stars on the other side. That's the sheet that we're using. So you get 4 of these, and I have made a card with the one that's missing. That's going to be in a blog hop later, so you can get 4 cards out of each of these, or I'm doing a box today. It makes a box look pretty. So you get 4 of these sheets, so that would be 4, 8, 16 cards just out of those 4 sheets. That's very pretty. Yeah, you've got a soft succulent version of that cherry cobbler one. Very nice. You've got soft succulent version of this, so you could make a soft succulent version of this box as well, or make cards. Look out for my project that's coming later in a few weeks, I think. Actually, I think I made it well in advance. There's the trees. It was going to be, the card was going to be for this, so we've got those dots again for this blog hop, and then I realised I haven't made a 3D project for ages, so that's quite nice. That's like an outline of a tree there, but you could cut it up in isolation and use it for other things. Those lovely dots in the background, this evening evergreen. And then we've got black and gold, always very elegant black and gold. I really like it, and I don't think it necessarily has to be Christmas. I love it. And there we've got those. So that is the paper that I am using, and I'm also going to use some dies. So I'm going to use the, what are they called? I know it's Joyful Flurry is the stamp set. Card would be that way around, wouldn't it? Let's put it the other way around. Frosted Flurry is the die set, and you get 12 dies in the set, and it does coordinate with a stamp set. And if you buy this together in a bundle, you save 10%. So you've got these 4 snowflake stamps, and they will cut out those. So once stamped, glare there, once stamped, you can cut them out. This little die that you've got 2 of, they cut right out. But this die, this die, this die, and this die, what I call leave-in dies. So they stay in the paper or in the cardstock, and you can give them a bit of dimension that way, but they do stay in, and you can pop them out, which I think is quite a nice little effect. That one, you've got these lovely little chevrons that come out, and here, and I think these look a little bit like hearts, so I was thinking these could make a nice sort of Valentine's card, because it's like a load of hearts as opposed to a load of snowflakes. So we are going to use this die today, and I'm actually going to cut it out, and I'll show you how that can happen. Okay, I'm also, because I always think if you've got gold foil, then it's nice to mat your gold foil. So, so I'm using this golden rose gold 6x6 metallic paper, which is quite pretty. You could use gold foil, and actually there's some gold foil in that is free in Celebration right now. It's just been added. It's in the main catalogue, so bargain, get it free. So because these are 6x6, in order to mat these behind here, to save paper, I wanted it to be 3x3. The card that I made, I used this in its entirety, and this cuts down to 3x3, so I cut 3¼ by 3¼ which meant I could only get one mat out of this sheet. So I don't want that. That didn't speak to me in terms of you know, using your stash well. I'm going to make a circle one. So I'm cutting this down 3x3. So I've got them ready for cards or another box, whatever. So what I want to do is I want to cut this down to 2 3/4. So I'm going to take an 1/8 off each side. So that we'll have a 2 3/4 mat. So you're just trimming tiny little bit off. Keep those scraps if you want to. They aren't very big, but I haven't decided yet. I'm going to put that to one side. I might keep them. And then I can cut this into 3x3 squares, and then that means I can get all 4 cards or box toppers out of the one sheet, and that's much more frugal with my stash. And then to be even more frugal, I'm going to cut the snowflake. So I'm going to use this snowflake. I'm going to cut that out of the centre. And yes, it will leave it in. So then I'm going to take this big outline one and cut a second time out of that. Now you have to be, it's a little tricky, but it does work, I found. So watch it all go completely wrong now, but hey ho. So using my mini cut and emboss, so I'm just putting it there on the cut and emboss mat, going in the middle, because we're not going to, that's not going to be noticed. Put my top plate in, which is very warped. That happens, that's normal. It's even got cracks at the edges. It still works. So I'm going backwards and forwards a few times because the paper, it has like a plastic backing on the back, and I just feel it needs a little bit of extra doings, and then you can see there it has all cut. So take that off. It is still in there, but these things will poke from behind and they will come out like so and give us some dimension, and the dots come out. Okay, just checking that it is all cut through. Yeah, it has. So what you've got to do now, I think it's quite hard to see, so I'm just going to secure that with some washi tape because you don't want it to move. So I did it so that I've got top and bottom there all lined up. So I've got top peaks all lined up, checking round the corners where the other ones are, adjusting slightly where required. It does get quite close to these that pop up, but they don't quite cut because the cut line's not on the edge there, it's further in. So when I'm happy, I'm going to cut it. I say it's not perfect, but it's a handmade item, so it's not like a industrial laser cut thing. So I'm going to go back and forward a few times just to make sure it's cut through. And I can see that that is cut through. Always have a bit of washi on top of my die cutters. Always handy. Right, put that away now. And now that should pop out quite nicely. That will mat on that quite nicely. You won't see that behind. And now what you've got to do with your pokey tool is poke out all the holes. I say the plastic does make it a bit difficult, and then all of these bits pop up, and I just go through and pull them up. You might get a little bit there, like that one's broke, but it doesn't matter because it's going to get, that bit's going to get stuck down, so that doesn't bother me that there is a little bit of a break there. So it's easier to poke from behind. And I say it's because this has got a coating on it, which is why this is slightly more problematic than ordinary cardstock or DSP. So we're just poking those up like that, and then poking out the holes. So I'm going to continue to do this, but speed it up. Don't want to bore you. So that's it all done. So slightly fiddly, but I think the effect is really worth it. I think it looks stunning inside that circle. So then we're just going to glue it down. I said there is a couple of bits where it's broken there, but it doesn't matter because you're going to glue it down, so then it'll be joined, so it's not a problem. So I'm just going to use some Tombow and stick it round. You want to make sure that you're only on the bits that are going to be flat against, so not the bits that you've just spent ages pulling out. I'm sticking it so that these longer bits are north and south. So I'm just using a pokey tool there, pull these up a little bit, and so you get a nice 3D snowflake there. So to secure that to this, I'm just going to go round the edges of this cut out snowflake and then round the edges of this square, and then lining this up so we've just got 1/8 of an inch all the way around, which is fairly easy to line up. Got a little bit of wiggle room there with your Tombow. And then to finish off that snowflake, I'm going to use these pearls. These are in the mini catalogue, and it is designed to go with this paper. So we've got gold, silver, soft succulent and cherry cobbler, and I'll just take the cherry cobbler and stick it in the middle of our snowflake, and that sets it off really nicely. So that nice little topper, go on a card, or as I'm doing today, putting it on a box. So I've already cut the lid of the box bit, and I'm going to cut the base with you. So this is cherry cobbler because it matches nicely. This is 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to have a 1 each lip going down the box. The base of the box is going to stand 1 1/2 inches tall. So we want it to be 6 1/4 by 6 1/4, but minus 1/8, so that the lid will fit over it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So 6 1/4, if you've got this trimmer, 6 1/4 is 1, 2, 3, it's just there on the sort of brown grey bit. So you're going to do that, and then you're going to come back 1/8 to just the little mark, and it is, dun, 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 if we can see there, you've got some marks on this brown. So the 1/8 mark is just beyond where that bit is. That's where your 1/8 mark is. Okay, so 6 1/4, come back 1. It's not 1/8, it's a 1/16. So it's 6 3/16 by 6 3/16. Don't know what that is in centimetres because I don't do them. And I use my school board, so you need 8s for that anyway. So there we go. That is our base. And then we're going to get our school board, and the base we're going to score at 1.5 inches on all 4 sides. And the lid 1 inch on all 4 sides. Both the lid and the base are going to be made in exactly the same way. So, as you see, that mats quite nicely on it. So, where's my bone folder? There it is. So, fold and burnish all 4 sides. On this one, what I want is I want to have a little bit of pattern on these sides to make it look a little bit more special. And I had a look round on my stamp sets, and I've got Penguin Place, and it's got this little cluster here, which I thought went really well with the clusters on the paper. So I'm going to get some Versamark, and I'm going to go round. I don't need to do these corner bits, I don't need to do the centre because they're not going to get seen. So I'm just going to go around, and we want to come in a little bit. And now we're going to come in with our gold embossing powder. So that's the powder all on, and so then we'll just get the heat tool and see the magic happen. There we go. So I'm just going to leave that to one side and make the base, because I always build the lid around the base. So we're going to snip this side of the score line up to that score line. I always rotate, so you end up with one flap on each side rather than 2 flaps together. We're going to snip off each of these. I find it easier to cut that way. So go around and do all those edges, and then I just sliver off those. There we go. And then we just need some glue on those. You can use Stampin' Seal Plus or Tombow or tear and tape. You want a really strong glue when making boxes. So I like Tombow because it is strong and it dries quick. You get a bit of oozing. I use a dried out baby wipe, and that works for me. So it's a long time since I made a box. And then you can go around with your bone folder and burnish those flaps so that it is stuck really well. And then we're going to do the lid, now that's had a chance to dry, in exactly the same way. So I'm going to speed this up. So before we build the lid, it'd be easier to put the topper on now whilst it's flat. I thought it'd be quite nice to pop it up. So I get some dimensionals. So that's it all popped up on dimensionals, and then it's just a matter of centering it. And there should be a nice even margin around. Cut it so that there is about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. When I'm satisfied, I'll give it a press. And then we build the top around the bottom. So whilst that's on the bottom, I'm going to fold it round. I'm going to put a bit of Tombow on there. And this is how you get a nice fit. Fold that in. Just gets a little bit tricky. And the last one. Now we can push that lid down a little bit better because we're pushing it against the base. Take it off the bottom. Take bone folder. Give it a bit of a burnish. And then that fits on top perfectly. And that is our little Christmas box. So hope you like that. Hope you'll go and check out everybody else's video. I'll link down below to all the shop links as well, so you can go and purchase them if you wish to, and enjoy the video hop. And I'll be back with another video tomorrow, actually my usual Sunday afternoon video. Okay, see you all again soon. Bye bye now.